if you guys remember, we covered, I would say, first portion of the volume profile. We covered the basics, we covered the high volume nodes, volume profile types, the standard deviations, right? We went over that. Let me know if you guys are like, oh, I'm not sure about this. Well, if you're new, you won't be, right? Value area tips and tricks. I think this is kind of where we're starting right now, right? We'll go over this because this is really critical when you're trying to assess and read. What is the market telling you real time? A lot of people have the ability to read the chart after it happened, but sometimes during the live sessions, right? That's where you guys can get better, right? And I can get better, and I get better every day, right? Market changes. That's the only thing that that's constant is the change in the market, and it should be change with you guys as well. Is that you guys should be learning how to trade with the market, not against it. So hopefully, after this session, you guys are able to kind of see and understand it and then apply it, right? Not only after, but also during trading, right? How's this reacting? Where's the value? Where are we opening in relationship to value? Are we accepting, rejecting? Those are the type of questions hopefully you can answer and then put a whole daily plan based on that feedback for yourself, right? And then see how it plays out the next day. You test your theory and see, are you getting better or worse at it, right? If it's worse, then we probably need to meet 101 and see where you're missing maybe a piece or two, and then keep reinventing and keep studying yourself to get better. So as we talked about previously, right, before volume profile, right, it was really hard to know where's the majority accepting the price, right? Price can only be accepted or rejected. And we base the value based on 68% of the volume, right? So if you think about the standard deviation, this is what we are focused on, the blue zone, right? The 34 plus 34 is 68. This zone tells us where's the acceptance of the price, right? If we are trading inside this area, most likely you're going to have a D shape and they're going to be happy trading inside here. If you're trading above but you're failing to get the acceptance, most likely you're going to fall back inside, visit the opposite area, and proceed. So this is your value area. Okay. So tips and tricks: if the stock price opens above the value area and then it falls back inside the value area, this is a strong bear signal. It'll be important that you guys, remember these because it really become handy moving forward. And the same is true opposite. If the stock price opens below the value area and then it rallies back inside the value, this is a strong bullish signal, which would mean that we are rejecting lower prices and then we want to auction higher. And that's really, really important for you guys to understand. If the stock price opened below the value area and continues to stay above, this indicates institutional buying, selling. As a trader, you should expect the price to follow through. So this means acceptance outside the value, right? And you want to be basically paying attention to these scenarios, and we're going to go into detail each one of them. Did any of these happen last week?
I'm sure it did. However, there's a bit of a gray area when I look at it. Like when it's happening, like I can't tell if it's gonna come like bounce back before getting into the value area and just reject, or like did it stay outside enough time to do that, or is it going to
Well,
pull the
that's
80% rule?
that's where you have to kind of pay attention to what the trend is, right? I would say anything below 68.15, if you remember, we were pretty bearish, right? I would say that was the mindset that we had, right? So this was the chart we were going off of. If you remember this level here, bulls lost control, and we said everything below here is a short.
Mhm.
Unless you reclaim the previous week value area low, we said if you do, most likely it's going to be a short cover rally and you're going to go. But other than that, it was basically short the pops, right? And when you look at this, let's say look at the Thursday to Friday, what does this tell you? Did we open? How did we open here? Let's give you an example. So where did we open?
I think just slightly outside of value from previous day.
Okay. You open slightly outside the value, right? And this was our, I think I was trading live when I said that this is going to be an easy short, and we took the short right here, if you remember. This was a previous day high, and then for people that are struggling,
Oh crap! It's like I clean up the poor high and then it's dumped.
trying
Now that I'll
to
look at it, yeah.
change these colors a little bit. You guys can actually see these things. Okay, so the open was here, right? So where do we open in terms of value here? It's the same between the two. I'm just trying to give you a clue of how to look at it, right? So you opened above, I'm sorry, inside the value, right? You had the poor high, and we, like you just said, we swept it, and then I gave you I chatted, I said, hey guys, this is setting up for a bear signal. Was that what happened? We went above, and then we were like, okay, well, I entered short here, and then I said, most likely we're going to catch what? This was the idea was that 80% rule is going to come into play. Not 90, 80. So how can you tell that this is happening? Right? You posed a question now. Now you can help me answer it, right? So if you think about the trend from the top here, when we had that Monday, if you remember, we paid attention to this Monday. Majority of the value on this Monday was right here, correct?
Hmm.
So we opened here and then we closed below it. Then we opened back inside. We went inside that day above, fixed the poor high, and then most likely either way you're going to go to the bottom here, right? And if you remember, this was one of our targets here, somewhere around here was one of our targets, immediate targets. I think it was 6,700 or something like that quarter. That was the first target, and then 80% has a really really high chance to play out. But look at the values before. How are the values stacking from the top here? They're stacking down, right? I mean, it's telling you clearly that we're not accepting the value back where we were. Remember, we were trying to build it on a higher time frame, so we won't go there now. In that LVN that we covered during the watch list, if you were there, we were really, really trying to cover inside the LVN the value, and they clearly rejected it. We talked about that there was no interest to trade there, and then basically we slowly shifted the value. And on Friday, you opened inside, you explored higher. If you were not sure about this setup here, you could have waited, for the value area high to crack 715, pretty important level, and then target the bottom. And that could have been one trade that you take 30 points and you walk away.
Hmm.
Where mentally, where people fail is that they take that trade, they make money, and then they get greedy and they're like, oh man, I want to make double, I want to make a triple. No, if you can make $1,000 in 5 minutes, and there's 5 days in a week, I mean, that's 5 grand a week, times four, that's $20,000 a month. Not many people make 20K a month. I don't think they do. Because the median income is what, 68,000 in the United States. So that tells you you take that and you run with it. And this is the same setup that happens a lot. So when you understand the value of how this works, right? Once we go through this, it should help you to repeat the same setups and not look for anything new. If you can just find the same thing that works over and over, will there be days where you don't take trades? Yeah. Are there days where I'm quiet and I don't take trades? Yeah. There's not much to be excited about, right? Is there trades where I can maybe push it and make some points? Yeah, but it's not clear cut, right? There's choppiness, and I prefer not to trade those days. The sooner you realize the days you don't want to trade, you basically increase your probabilities of winning in this game quite a bit. And we'll talk about that as well. This is important for you guys to know, especially if you're a long-term investor as well. Long-term buyers and sellers, uh, they're always active on the extremes of the value area highs and lows. But this is not that they're, active on the value on the daily profiles, right? I would say if you go on the PVP and you change this, right? Let's say we put this somewhere on, okay, 12 months, maybe let's do 3 months. So here what I'm doing is I'm just putting the 3 months quarterly view of the PVP, and then we'll just change this to maybe a daily profile. Does everybody know where the value area highs and lows are here? Where's the value area high for this 3 months coming up? The first Q. Hopefully everyone in the Discord is aware of it.
70.25.
Yeah, so the dark areas, the shaded areas that you're seeing here, like the dark blue is this would be our value area high at the top. So I just don't have it marked, but we can certainly add it. So here's your value area high, and here's value area low. There's a reason why I do use these colors, right? And you guys can guess why. Like, why is it green? Why is it orange? Does it make sense in terms of psychology of it?
Like a stop sign.
Yeah, I don't want to be a buyer, the orange line. I want to be a buyer at the green line, and same everywhere else, right? So this is here is just a quarterly view. What's important when you guys start trading and learning, not a lot of people cover this, I would say. When you measure the trend and how healthy the trend is, right, and if it's getting old or if it's potentially going to turn, you guys know how to engage that on volume profile.
Maybe like the shift on the volume profile is slowing down and start
You want to
stacking.
see exactly when it's a healthy trend. We'll just make this non-extended so you guys can cover the basics. If this is our value area, let's say on a quarterly profile, and it's looking like it is right here. This is kind of what happened here, right? Is this, and then it had, even more gap, which is healthy, right? And then it had something like this. So we'll just put it like this. So what is the market telling you a little bit now? It's not candles.
And it's slowing down.
So market was telling you here we had a lot of volatility. You pay attention to two things, right? When you're measuring the trend and seeing if it's healthy. One is the value area width, and this one here seems to be pretty massive. I mean, you're talking, let me make sure I'm on the right inputs, 68% on the value area here, so that's correct. So 753 points of value area. I mean, as long as we're trading in here, in this box, markets what? They're pretty happy, right? People like trading inside the value, right? And this is a pretty massive one to find. Then you have, what shape profile do you have here?
A B, a
You
little
have
B.
yeah, lowercase b. It's not, extended, it's compressed. So sometimes when you see a compressed B like this, it could be a trap, right? And this is the trap that they set here. So now, if you understood market profile, right, and how it behaves, we went here and they rejected the price inside this value. What was this telling you here?
They want prices higher.
They're going to scream and they want prices higher. So now, if you think about it, we don't have prices anywhere to the left that would give us any more signal, correct? We don't know, right, future prices because there's no context to the left. So I know this is not a class for fibs, but this is where you can use Fibonacci, right? Where you can do extensions, and typically you should nail it on like this on a pretty high, I would say swing like this, and I would say we nailed it, right? We hit them perfectly here. You came here, this is your final target. And if you guys look back when I posted, these were the targets that I was targeting, I think about 8 months back, right? If we are able to go above this level and hold it. This was the level that we were targeting. We came here and sold off. I know this is not a class for Fibonacci, but why is this one? I care about two, and these are the two. Why this one is very important here? Does everybody understand 1618?
I don't understand why, but I know it's like the golden level.
Okay. Anyone else know why is that? Why is it golden?
Because it exists everywhere.
Okay. Else?
I was looking more because it's a cycle level like 7,000.
Okay, well that's sure. But what is golden fib? Do you guys know?
It's the 68%.
It's the ratio, right? It's the golden ratio of 0.618, and the inverse of that is 1.618. So when you're doing extensions of Fibonacci, this number here is fairly important, especially on large scale swings like what, we took this swing high, so I'll put this so you guys can see it. Let's engage this one here. We'll change it to 0, and then I'll put this one here. So all I did is I said, give me this number to here, and now I want you to give me 127% of that, and then I want you to give me 161.8% of this range. That's how we got this. And I'm not saying that it couldn't have gone above this, but this is a pretty damn big level to reach in a short period, right? And you're talking about in a year, you reach the golden ratio here, and you've been running, guys, for a while, right? I mean, this looks like a penny stock at this point. Here's your 2020 here, COVID. I mean, since COVID, the market's been on fire. I mean, you're talking about 220% over, let's say 5 years. That's bananas. So far, so good on the basics. I just want to make sure that you guys at least have an idea. If you don't, we can touch base on fibs maybe towards the end of the class. Fibs are very useful when you don't have references. So now when you look at this, right, these are quarterly profiles. That means other time frame participants, right? Just kind of what we were talking about here. They show up, the long-term buyers show up on the extremes being value area high or value area low. So let's pay attention to, right? Anytime the price went above 3-month value area high, what happened? In Q4, this is Q4 here.
We explored the other side.
We explored the other side. And then you went back, you went below, you basically reached this, and I think we knew about this level actually. We went long here. We reached back, and then it basically bounced nicely all the way up, and then it gave you another setup peak. We talked about this multiple times. Then peak, we went inside. You guys remember that clouds were closed at one point when I was talking about that's a good way to make money on SPY. When the clouds plus this, it was a monstrous setup for a short. You guys recall that? The monthly clouds and quarterly were closed. I think actually it was found by Drew himself. And we took a nice little dump from here. And now, where do you guys think we're headed to? Think about values. So this is your Q4 value. This is your value area low. And now you're basically picking up. Pay attention to volume here. As you're going up, what are you noticing about the red days, the gray bars?
They're increasing.
They seem to be above average when we're selling off, right? And then we're buying. Are they buying full force? They were buying here, right here. They tried to basically get it back inside, but no. So what are the odds that we're going to visit the recent lows right here? I would say pretty damn high. That's probably going to happen Monday, that we're going to be here. And then you're going to come here, and you're going to basically what the market is going to say, are you still what? What's the question here?
Accepting value in that area.
Rejecting the lower value and accepting the price to be here. Right?
Okay.
Because last time they said no. So this is going to be a big test. I'll have from somebody. Would this level be important to anyone?
Yeah, it's a magnet.
Why?
It's
Untouched.
untested.
This is it's a quarterly virgin POC. So this is important, especially for newbies and people on YouTube. This level here is fairly important. So think about this as a fountain. We found new water here, right? And from that water, we were able to get a bunch of water here, right? Everybody's drinking. Well, it's drying up. Now we're coming back to that, source of water and seeing are we going to basically find new same existing buyers that were existing in water at this level. This quarterly level is going to play a major role. You can mark it. I would not be shocked if we are here before March end is done. Like maybe quarterly OPEX, the quad witching would be here. So pay attention to the quarterly levels, quarterly VPOCs, and there's a lot of them, right? And typically, when you have this many left, you're going to come back and revisit. There's another one here at 5907. This one is going to be massive. This is going to be massive because this profile right here, if you guys look at it, it's probably telling you clues, and that's what we're kind of going to get into right now in terms of diagnosing higher time frames and go lower, and then explain the opening types. Is there anything in this profile here that you guys would pay attention to?
The value area high and the value area low of the other one.
Yeah, that's true. You would mark these levels, right? This will be your, Q2 of 2025. Pretty big, right? And so if you combine a couple of these right here, you'll get the yearly profile. So we'll just do that right now. So we'll combine this into a yearly. We'll just increase this to a 3D, 3 days. Drawing.
But I also saw the high of one overlapped with the low of the other.
A quarterly profile.
Yeah, I think.
I'm gonna go back so you can tell me what you're talking about.
Yeah, that green line and the yellow line.
Yeah, this is a big one. Fairly big level, I agree. You want to explain why you think that's important?
Because it's the high of one quarterly profile and the low of the other. So it's like a level where they transition from one value area to the next.
Okay, and last time they said they're not interested trading inside. So if they lose it this time, what can happen?
Then it'll explore the entire value of the other one, or at least to the POC.
What you're saying, this would be your PT1, PT2. This is not a daily PT, right? This would be more of, it's massive, right? It's a massive value. And we know it's pretty wide value, which tells you can have what happen. The odds of this 80% playing out versus this one, which one has better odds?
The
The
smaller
one.
Smaller one. So you place your bet on this one playing out. If you're playing puts here, you're playing SPY until this level right here, POC. You do not want to bet, as the price is coming here, it's probably not a bad idea to close some puts because most likely, I would say, I guarantee you it's going to bounce at 5946 or a little bit lower. Just find the level right here. I would bet my last dollar we're going to catch a bounce here. And similar pattern actually happened right here. I don't know if you guys remember that 4140 or whatever it was level. Or something like this, I think. You guys remember this? If you're in the Discord, we talked about sell your kidneys, sell everything you have and go along here. And that's what happened. Right? They came in here and they rejected this and moves a great bounce. Obviously, we ran a ton of points since then, but they gave us an opportunity. This one here wasn't the same setup. This was more of a rejection of lower values. They came in here, bounce. This was actually the 50% bounce on this level. But you're correct. If we lose this green zone here, it becomes really dangerous for the bulls, right? They might try to buy this, but if they can't reclaim the zone once they get inside, what you said here is going to play out, I would say, pretty fast. And how can you tell if something is going to play pretty fast here?
That skinny belly.
Skinny belly. Does everybody understand what I mean by that? Or what he means by that? This should be more interactive, where I'm not doing all the talking, where you guys can ask questions.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a low volume node.
I
And
understand.
moving right through it.
They're not interested in price there.
So now, if you guys don't see it, let's say, and you're shy to talk, watch what happens here when we increase this one to about maybe 455. And now you have all of these profiles overlapped, right? What do you guys think happens here in the next 2-3 weeks?
We're about to slide down that skinny belly.
So when we talked on Friday, when we had the watch list, I asked somebody, or asked you guys, what's the path of least resistance? Do you guys remember that question? When we were trading, I said, what is the
Yeah.
path? Which way can we go? Is it easier to go down or up based on the volume, based on the value? And it seemed like, the path was down. So now when you look at this, we are outside of this, quarterly value. Obviously, we're rejecting this massive node, and we're basically in LVN right now. And the odds that we're not going to slice through here are pretty damn low. Odds that we're going to sweep this low here are pretty high. And if that's the case, then you can mark your level somewhere to be. Would this be a level you guys would be interested? What I'm marking right here, this one.
Yeah, bounce level.
This would be a decent bounce, because when you look at these nodes, right, in between, so I can make it probably a little bit easier for you guys to see here.
But I see two long wicks in the middle of that low volume. Kind of.
So now when you look at this, right, I just increased the row size. You're able to see that this volume node and this one are comparatively similar. They're not that too far off. So the odds that we're going to come here are pretty high, that they're going to sweep this low, and that they could catch a bounce here. If they catch a bounce here, where do you think they could go next? If they catch a bounce, they're most likely going here. And they're probably going to explore and see, can they get, depending on how this volume plays out, there might be a high volume node here that they use, and then they do something like this, maybe do another bounce, and they'll, this is going to be choppy. This is going to, you guys see these wicks here, this is going to be nasty to trade in between here. Eventually, this is where we want them to go. And then, if you just zoom out, is it clear what's the next path of volume? If this is our massive volume, and now you're able to see, look at the colors, basically, where it's darker blue. Odds that they're going to be a 59-13 if they lose this here are pretty damn high. And then, would you guys care about this level at all here? 6163. Would this level be any importance to you guys? I'll hide this so you guys can see a lot of other stuff that maybe. Would this level be important right here?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's previous all-time high.
This one, has this level been tested?
No.
No. So let me just give you guys a monthly view now so you guys can see it here. I'll just delete everything here. We're talking about this level right here. So we talked about the price. Prices can be only what?
Accepted or rejected.
Okay. So if it's accepted or rejected, this level becomes
Support.
this. If we lose this, I would say the odds that we're gonna hear a black swan event, I don't know if it's World War III or if it's gonna be something bigger than that, but you can definitely expect this to happen here. Right? This is a major breakout level. This is something that's gonna, impact the whole market if we fail here. The odds that we're gonna bounce here, would you guys think it's fairly high, or So when we talk about price going away from, a breakout, we went away 15 points from that level. Do you guys think that's plenty?
No.
I think it's plenty. I mean, 15% is quite a bit.
Oh,
Typically,
15%.
yeah,
15.
15% is a lot. That's a lot, right?
It's a good discount.
So now, if you put what we just had on our charts here, and we'll just make it a little bit cleaner so that I don't know much.
Discount, I think it's overpriced.
Okay, sure. So now somebody said that this level here will be important, and I totally agree with them. Right? It'll be important because it's a breakout level, and then you see when we had this day here, when we had this 3 months here, was there anything interesting about this profile here and then this profile here compared to the one that hit the all-time high here?
The wide value area and the POC lower.
Okay, anything specific about the value placement between these three?
Yeah, it was all the way in the top. The other one
Yep.
completely engulfed it.
So I think where she's going with this, and you tell me if I'm wrong. So this was the value here. Now you have a value that's shifting higher basically and lower, so it's an outside value, correct? And then you have a
Yep.
value that's doing what?
Another outside value is engulfing both of them.
It's engulfing both of them, which clearly tells us the volatility is there and the other time players are entering. Now, if you basically explore this area inside, I guarantee you that we're going to be here at this POC fairly quickly. You're going to explore this level, and then there's a lot of LVNs here. Like in this area, could this be possible here at this level? Certainly. There's a nice LVN here, and there's a gap, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we fill, but this POC is pretty big level not to be tapped at one point. But that means that they lost this critical level here, and some crazy shit's about to happen in our world. We don't want to see that happen because the big boys make money off of wars and killings. So normal human beings are not excited, even though people, always when I talk to people, I can't go to dinner sometimes with my wife's friends or even my friends. I'm not smarter than them, but I tell them like they think I'm conspiracy theorist when I tell them things are probably going to get a little crazy here. I told them that to buy like gas and fill up their gas. A lot of people and they're like, "Oh, it's never going to go. Trump is here," and I'm like, "Okay." And then a few days back, they're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I'm like, "I told you, it's going to happen. It's going to go to about $9 a gallon." And then they're like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm like, "Yep, I am certainly crazy." The market tells you what's about to happen. You just have to know how to read it, right? And markets, screaming a little bit now that these buyers could be trapped here. Right? There's a very high chance that these guys are going to be trapped and that we're going to see lower prices here come in. So does this make sense? At least highest level, I'm looking at quarterly and monthly profile. Does this make sense to everyone?
Yeah, but I have a question about outside profiles or outside periods. I don't really understand the significance of them.
Oh, well, their significance is huge, right? So let me bring this up. Does anyone want to attempt to explain this?
I think Shorty kind of already said it, but he went over it pretty quickly. He was like, when the value area is expanding like that and there's a lot of volatility and volume, you know that the bigger players are involved in the price action, and when other time frame participants are involved in the price action, you know that the move that they're making is like really serious and they're going to respect it. Like it's going to be hard to like for any normal day trader, right, to combat it, right? So they're going to just move it where they want to.
I was
That makes
thinking
sense
more
to me.
along. Sorry, I was thinking more along the line like it's hitting like sig 2 or 3 of the previous distribution, and therefore you have a lot of responsive traders coming in, and just going to push it to the other end.
That's also doable, right? But you have to pay attention. For instance, we're looking at this in the quarterly picture, right? Now I just took this fixed volume profile and combined 3 quarters, right? So almost nine months of data in here, and look where we are. Look where we were. Look where the other time frame participants showed up. So now, when we went here before, they showed up ideally, right? And they hit that basically level to a penny, and then they proceeded to bounce. So now, considering we are, I would say, I'm on the monthly chart when we have about 16 days left. Compare volume between the months. Which one do you think can catch more volume going into the quarterly expiration as well, first quarter? And what I'm gonna tell you now, this is especially if you're a W-2 worker, is going to get so ugly that you should prepare for the bad times. Like if you haven't started preparing for bad times now, you're behind. If you're learning how to trade and making some money, you're in good times. What's going to happen to people having a job in the next 2 months is going to be really, really sad.
AI and draft.
AI is bullshit. They're going to bring the economy to its knees. They're going to bring the world economy to its knees. And then maybe 2 years later, you guys will find out through a documentary on Netflix why that happened. It's gonna, U.S. economy is gonna be to its knees, which is gonna bring the rest of the world to its knees. And then, the war that's happening right now in Iran, it's not a coincidence. Iran requested that if they want a peace deal, there was only one big deal, and if they want the ships to go through, did you guys read that, to the Hormuz Strait of Hormuz? What was the rule?
He wanted an apology from Trump.
And he wanted the oil to be settled in what currency?
Not USD. Did not catch the currency
Yen.
because in US
Yen. He wants it in yen, which was shift world reserve currency to what?
Petrodollar.
Away from the petrodollar.
Away from the petrodollar, which every war started because whoever challenged the petrodollar died. You don't believe me? Just Google it.
Yeah.
This war is about the
currency.
currency. Whoever has the most oil controls the currency. So you guys think we went to Iran because of the nukes? That's an old school trick, right? We're going there because of your safety. And then people buy it in and not saying anything, but don't expect to hear something bad happens in the United States over the next couple of days where we have some kind of an event or natural disaster or something of those lines that happen quickly in the United States, because they need you to look left while we do something to the right. And the market will tell you that all the time. So now what you guys were talking about, right, is that we are outside of the value of the 2 quarters, right? So obviously we're reaching the extremes, right? We're going for the extremes. This was our prior quarter low, I would say right here. So if I was to mark this, this would be a pretty decent level, right, to be aware of, 65.25. And then this would be your what? Is this level any significance? If I was to mark this, it would be 225 Q3 what? Value area high.
High.
The reason why I mark these levels, right, like this one here, and then somebody said this zone is going to be important, and I couldn't agree more. This will be marked. So when I mark them, is there a reason why I mark them like in symmetrical way, value area high and value area low? Why would this be fairly important zone for me?
Market participants, the reaction. See if they accept into the
Why
lower.
why would I mark this right here?
Potential 80%.
Yeah, it would be 80% on the quarterlies, right? That would be massive. And that's when, in my mind, when I look at my levels, if I see 2025 Q3, in my head, I immediately look to see where's 2025. You know, let me see, why is this one darker? I immediately look for the opposite, right? When I see Q3 value area high, I'll look for the other side as well. So I know if you enter here and let's say you're accepted, how would you know if you're accepted here inside this value?
A retest from below.
Yeah, a retest from the below. Let them spend some time below, right? So as they're going in here, what you do want to see is if we see something like this and a bunch of single prints come in here, maybe on a daily, and the price pushes it back up here in a P shape, is this acceptance here?
No, it's rejection.
No,
No.
that's
Yeah,
excess.
clear. That's access. That's a rejection. That means we hit somebody with the sitting orders right here. And this is a real level. 64.70. That means that there was something that happened on the bid. So if you guys think about, you know, the order flow, that means that something was happening on the bottom here, and that was correct. As they came here, there was a massive bid. Sorry, massive, you guys, not massive. Massive bid order sitting here, and as the aggressive sellers came here, you know, when you're hitting market sell, it's going against what? As your market sell, it's meeting with what type of order?
Passive.
Limit order.
Passive bid, sitting order, right? They're taking liquidity out of the bid side. So now, if these orders come in from this high volume node of the Q, I would say 3, right? If they come in here and defend it, and we close, let's say in a day, is that doable? Yeah, I would say 100 mil, less than 100 points, right? So it would be this range here between here and here. That's a piece of cake. That's a value area. Now, if they do something like this from this level, that means this area is rejected. And guess what? We are back into reaching highs. When we started the year this year, do you guys remember what I said? I wrote and we covered it in depth when we reviewed yearly profiles. I said something specifically about this year that's happening, and you guys have to be aware the Q1 is going to be bloody. I'll look for that. Somebody remembers it. You can find it in Discord. I'm horrible at finding it. I said something happens maybe 80% of the time that it's a bad quarter. Does anyone remember what that was?
I do not. What was it?
You guys see my screen? No. You guys see what I shared now?
The elections, but
Look,
I'm not sure how that
midterm.
correlates.
midterms are on. Did anyone look at the stats on the midterms? I posted them for you guys. You can find it somewhere. I don't know. Find it. I posted something about midterms for you guys in the chat, and I said you want to sell when the midterms are around in Q1. If you have good stocks and really good prices, don't worry about it. But you don't want to be a buyer of tech stocks. At least I don't think it ever works out. So when the midterms happen, Q1 is red. I think it was like 85% of the time, Q1 is red. Is this Q1 looking red? This is your Q1 here.
Yep.
Basically from here to here. So that's just historical knowledge, right? That you can know. And now when you know this, typically they catch a bid when? They catch a bid sometimes in Q2. Once they start laying off people, and we haven't even started laying off yet, guys. We haven't started laying off. So if you're, you know, I would say if you're dependent on W2, I would say focus on your skills on trading for the next as much as you can. Don't sleep, don't eat. I'm telling you, it's gonna be really bad. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm trying. That's why I'm doing this. I don't have to teach you guys. I don't have to do any of this. I'm telling you this because it's gonna get ugly in the world for next couple of months. This right here is going to be the critical level. Are we going to be unemployment 20%? Or are we going to be unemployment 30, 40% at this level? This cracks, I guarantee you this is quick. This value area is going to be explored basically in maybe a week. This right here is going to be nasty. So this level here, you want to take it as a PT. So this will be your 2025 Q3 VPOC. This will be, I will just call it 20. This looks like a lot of levels right now, but these levels are 80, 90 levels apart. So when you're trading day to day, you wouldn't see all these levels, right? So if I go in 5 minutes, I don't see a single level, right? You see how far apart they are. So it might be a lot when you're looking on the monthly levels, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. You zoom in. Okay. All right. So far, I would say the trend on the higher time frames is taking a little beating. It's slowing down. If you look at it on 12 months, this is where I was going earlier. The 12-month profile has a lot of clues. When you look at this profile, is there anything that you guys can clearly know what's happening and how to trade it? Focus on this.
It's like a triple distribution. Do we think of waiting
That's
for acceptance
exactly,
rejected?
exactly. That's what we want. And look where the first skinny belly is. Does it have any correlation or any other confluence levels in the area?
Q3 volume area high.
Oh yeah. So you have this bad boy right here.
And right below the low is another smaller low volume node as well.
Yeah, like this one here. Yep. So you have these right here, but then ultimately, if you look at this, the way I treat this on the higher time frames, we can break it down to smaller ones. But when I look at on the big section, this is one. This would be the best. This would be two. Right. And let's say we're just gonna take this guy from here and put it right here. This would be the second one, and then we'll just copy and paste this guy here again. And this one would be probably all the way to here, just because of the confluence you'll have anyways. Is there opportunity to draw a couple here? Yeah, but this one here is just gonna, if you lose this zone, it's gonna get ugly. Does that make sense? At least when you look at this profile, and you should keep these levels, the green zones, on your charts at all times. You can call it whatever you want, major, LVN, maybe put it inside, center, like this one here. Say major.
Hey, Shorty, can you share your chart at the end of this class? Look.
Not with you.
So I do have a question. When price action is, I guess, nearing or getting into the LVNs, do we wait until it's like passed through or gone out of it before thinking of entering a trade?
Well, you wouldn't enter a trade here on the short side, and as you're approaching, if that's what you're asking me, right? You wouldn't be looking for short. If we lose this here and you enter short below here, what would you treat this level here?
As an LVN, as a
Well, you would treat it as a close, a short. If I enter short and I see acceptance below this zone, I'm entering short to target the next one. And as we catch here, we're going to catch a bounce. It's not going to fly through. Market doesn't just go up and down without obviously dancing. So as we lose this on a higher time frame, right, I'm looking to cover my short, maybe even catch, let's say we dip inside here and we catch a bounce, then you're looking for a long opportunity, and I'll probably target this POC here. Market doesn't just go, oh, I entered. Can it? Yes. It's always, stairs up, elevator down, but that doesn't mean you want to, if if you're up, let's say 300% on SPY puts here, it would be naive, and you'd be a very gullible trader to not take profits there.
I see.
So as
So
you're taking a short here, you're long, cutting short, looking for long opportunities. If they continue, then it's the same pattern. Are they getting acceptance? If so, then we take that, and then we drive maybe somewhere around here and on downwards. So go ahead.
I was just thinking, like, if it's going through and let's say it hit that 6161 from above, would you enter long in the effort like it's going to bounce back and go towards the like 2025 high
Like right
value
here?
mode? Yeah,
So what is your scenario? I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm thinking like when it's hitting that 6161 from above, right? It's cutting through the LVN and then hit 6161. Do I just I think of sometimes entering long because I think it's going to get
Well,
rejected.
what I pay attention to when I'm looking at this, right? This is a massive LVN. It's better to be late than early. So let's say they do something like this, right? We're dumping from here, and they come here, and then
Mhm.
they reclaim this right here. Any opportunity on the pullback, you go long here, and
I see.
it's not a day long. Remember, you're on a quarterly profile. You're looking for opportunity to go long and sit. So most likely some options, right? With some, not zero DT, but maybe like, 4 to 6 months. You're looking and you target the level based on what you see, and I would target something like this. I would want them to get back inside this value and then go long. If they're trading here at the bottom, I don't think I would necessarily go. It is becoming maybe a crowded low, but you're gambling. Let them accept. Don't be early. Let them give you a pullback, and then you go long, and you'll be okay.
Gotcha.
Don't,
Thank you.
don't just go in because it's a level that you want to react, not predict. The key is to react to something that you're seeing. Going below it and reclaim is you want to go long. Going below and it's struggling, and you see maybe there's a HVN here in between when we are selling off, and it's struggling to get above that. Similar kind of what we did Friday. There's a couple of patterns on same way, right? Where we went below, it came back for a retest, and then we sold off. It's just basically a volume accumulation level. They came in and sold off. So now that we did this on a yearly, can I do this analysis on any other time frame?
Yeah, Shorty, can I just say this makes sense to me, and I won't say it's easy. But long-term stuff is easier for me. When I get into the day, I'm part of my French. I'm so fucking lost. It's just scary, But
Okay.
this is like somewhat. I won't say simple, but it makes sense to me. Really good sense. But during the week or during the day, it's just like, oh my god, what am I doing?
And I
100%
think
agree.
that's where a lot of traders are, right? And then why a lot of traders are there, and I'll just give you my sense and feedback, what I went through as well, is you get in and you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan where you analyze it like this, we started on yearly, we went quarterly. The next thing I typically do, as you guys know, is I look at the weekly and I say, well, tell me where we are on the weekly, right? How are we doing on the weeklies, right? Is the formula changing? Well, I would say we were overlapping for some time here at the top, just like the quarterly showed up, right? And then, you see us basically selling off, and there's something that happened here, right? We were here, this was the weekly low, and this was our prior weekly low. Just think about it, as if we didn't have this week. And then we tried to get inside this value. We sold off. Once we lost this zone here, let's say prior week, we had this marked on the other chart, somewhere around here. Once we lost this level, then you're targeting prior week low, and you see them struggling. So far, we are noticing what about value on weekly?
It's shifting lower.
Shifting lower.
Lower.
And this is basically, if you think about it, right? There was a pattern maybe 2 years back that it was really annoying. We would sweep the lows of prior week, and we would always close inside that week. I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about that, and it happened a lot on a daily, happened a lot on a weekly. You can almost find it elsewhere as well, where we sweep the lows of prior week or prior day, but then we close inside that range, which means that they're rejecting the prices lower, and it's really annoying to trade because then they can do short cover rallies, because they're weak sellers. But right now, what happened here? Well, this was a prior week low, and we're framing down on a weekly. So from the weekly standpoint, are you bullish or bearish?
Well, you're bearish.
There.
Okay, so we know this, and what I would know, what would be your key level if you want to become an extreme bull, where you're like, man, this is gonna rip the faces off of the shorts? What would be that level? Focus on
Previous
these
week
2
value area
weeks.
high.
Is there anything here? Somebody called it out earlier. Is there anything here that's like, oh crap? If you clean this level or zone, and you're just gonna take
Just
off.
a
You're gonna
double
bust.
distribution. Or
Well,
sorry, yeah,
we have triple. 1, 2, and maybe a little bit of here as well, triple. But then you have this double stack. I pay attention to a lot of double stack of value area low and highs. If they can clean this zone up, watch out, because this is going to give massive buying opportunity, and they're going to squeeze this probably to the poor highs here. They would run it, right? And you see the odds of that happening right now maybe not the best, because you do have a lot of distribution, a lot of sellers coming in and initiating lower. But when we go on TPO, you'll be able to know, like what you just said here, like right around here would be a decent level to keep an eye on. But if you clean this level up, get out of the way, do not be short, it's going to be a massive run. And when I say massive, I wouldn't be surprised if you go about 100, 200 points here quickly. And that's just basically one tweet. After you regain this, everything's okay, war is ending, and we run. So now, what we so far know is that weekly is framing down. If we want them, right, if we want them to get back inside, since this is our prior week low right here, then I would know that this is my really prior week low now. Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm not confusing you. When we start on Monday, this is our prior week low. This would be just a weekly low. Does that make sense? And you guys remember that 67.15? I was targeting it maybe for some time now. Then they rejected it multiple times. So far, weekly framing down. Then the last step is, how do we look at this from the daily standpoint? Because most of me and you, I would say what? Day traders. A lot of us are day traders. Do I have some MES swinging? Sure. Do I have spy puts? Yeah, but most of my money comes in from day trading, right? So when I shift here, right, you do have the LVNs. I would mark this value area high, value area low. I'll keep an eye on it, right, and see how do we trade compared to this. So this is our prior week value area low. And we mark this level, and then we will switch this to an SVP, which is our daily profile, and on 30 minutes right now. Switch this guy to the right. And then hopefully I can answer your question, how you get confused. Okay. Okay. So now you have a liquidation profile, you have a lowercase, right? This is so prior week value area low and prior day value area high is right here. So if we open inside here tomorrow, what is the market telling you?
You're accepting last week's value.
Is that bullish or bearish?
Semi-bullish, still like neutral in there.
That's the problem, right? Why would that be bullish?
Why?
Sellers are just taking a break.
Yeah, it could be bullish to a point, though, right? Up to
The only way it would be bullish based on this profile from last week is where?
above last week's high.
Okay, let me give you this right now. This is where you're struggling, and this is where I hope to help you. If we open within a prior day, right, we're accepting the value, correct? Prior day value are low. So if we open inside here, we are accepting this value. that value a day prior was here. Day prior to that, the value was here. So why would this be bullish if I'm accepting the price here? The
Because
value is
you
doing what?
opened within value.
But the value is doing what, guys? It was here, it's here,
Trending
it's
down.
here, it's here, it's trending down. The only way it would be bullish is if they say what to this value.
They went over that value.
We need them to go above this value to turn bullish, guys. We need them to reject this. We need the rejection of this value higher to say, no, this is too low. And that's where your excess comes in. That's where people say it was too cheap. So think about this. If I say, again, Teslas right now, you can buy a Tesla. I think Model 3 is at, so let's think about this in an example that I hope to help you. Tesla 3 here, this actually happened maybe some time back, is 45K. How many of you would buy it?
Nah.
Okay. Well, then I tell you, Tesla here is going to be 35K. Would some of you be interested? Maybe some. Some would buy it. Would there be enough to drive the demand? Price is saying no. Price was not accepted here. So then Tesla has to do what?
Drop
They have to
Find more
Find more
buyers.
buyers.
We auction lower in search of.
buyer.
So 30K comes in. And you guys are like, man, this is just not good enough, right? We're looking for prices that are a little bit cheaper. Okay. Now Tesla here is at 25K. So now if we see buyers come in and start buying Teslas, and let's say this is the bottom is 25, this is 27, and this is 28, 29, and 30 is the bottom line here. If we find buyers here willing to go and buy more or Tesla here on the higher demand, aggressive demand, that means we found what?
Support.
Price acceptance.
Except
The
We found
lowest.
price acceptance, we found buyers. We found buyers that believe that Tesla's worth it at this level. So then if we find buyers that are willing to pay 30, which was this sales price, that means that we are no longer going to visit this area here potentially, right? Unless there's a seller that has so many Teslas here that overwhelms what?
The buying.
The buying that's happening, right? So the only way that this is bullish tomorrow is if they reject this value here. If they can reject this value high and pop out of this, which would be 66.80, that'll be bullish because you're rejecting this, and the odds of a short cover rally then are massive. And then, I would not be surprised if they reach new levels, and everybody loves Tesla. So let me ask you guys this. If Tesla now goes and it's like, how many of you would be opting maybe to buy Tesla, brand new Tesla 3? That's it, Tesla 3, yeah, at 15K. Brand
I
new
don't
car.
know. I think it could
yeah.
go lower.
Okay. Would you buy it at 15? You go to a dealer and they're like 15K, you're there. Brand new car, $15,000. That same car a year, let's say a year ago, was 45. 45 to 15. Most people would say, yeah, I'll buy it. Because there's always fear that somebody else is doing what?
I don't know.
Give you an example. Let me see if I can find something for you guys. this. I think I found it. See if I can just play it. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Have you guys seen this? This right here.
Yeah, buy it all up and then gouge.
She's noticing the price of this is 140, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna undersell you at 100." What does she do?
It goes lower.
No, she's just gonna buy her eggs. What does she do to the price now? What would you do?
She's gonna raise it.
You raise it to 200, 350. Who's in the market to compete with her? What is she gonna sell?
Nothing.
Okay. Let me go back. Let me ask you the same question now. So now, when there's no more supply to sell, what could happen here?
Gonna jump back up.
So remember, when something's going lower and there's not much inventory to sell, right? You're going to be looking for any opportunity to buy. So just like the eggs right now, right? When the price becomes so low, maybe the people are not willing to sell it that low. So is this a massive discount to where we've been? I mean, just ask yourself, right? Other time frame players, are they interested? And this is how, at least I think, right? In a 7% discount. Is that a good enough discount for future?
No.
Well, you guys just told me that you don't want to buy a car that was a 45 or 15. You didn't want like 60% discount more. So why would you buy a discount of 7%?
Mhm.
That makes sense? So
Yeah, I want
could there be a
15.
potential, right? You could. So typically in a stock market, they look at 20% discounts, right? So if you go from here, that will put you somewhere right around like maybe this level here. The prior all-time high would be more like 12% discount right here, which would be maybe, right, we would see buyers, but other time frame players want a bigger discount. They might want something like this. And I'm not saying that I want to predict, but what I would pay attention to is as we are reaching these levels, as Tesla price is dropping here, right? Let me make sure I'm on 30 minutes. As the price is dropping, I want to know, are we rejecting the price where we traded? In this range, can we get out of this range and get higher? If you do, that's bullish. That means you're rejecting this price of Tesla in this zone, which is 25K. Now people are willing to buy more because maybe there's no more supply to sell, just like those eggs, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cap, does that help? Theoretically, we'll get into examples. Does that help to anyone else?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're looking to see the value is shifting down. We aren't trending down. If we open inside and we trade here, I guarantee you the best setup that you want to watch for, let's say tomorrow we open sometimes. I don't know what news have been over the weekend. I haven't been paying too much attention. But let's say we open here and we go above, we reject the value here and then fall inside. What should you do?
Short.
Probably an easy short, right? The odds are in your favor now that it might work out. The trend is down. We're rejecting to get inside that 30K Tesla price. Odds are you continue down. But what matters is where you open and how you behave around it. So let's go through this. When you open within a value, right, when you stay there, basically you continue trading, you're accepting the trade. That doesn't mean it's bullish. It's reflective to the context of the price from the left. Have we been trading basically like this, lower value, lower value? Well, I can't say that's bullish because the price has been shifting lower. It's just that it's taking a break. They're taking a break now to see, are we going to sell more, or if they crack this PD value area high, treat it almost like a change of character and value. We're rejecting this value and we want to go higher, explore higher prices. Okay. So now this can be bullish or bearish, right? So let's take a look at it. So here's a rejection, right? It could be two cases, right? The bearish one is that you're taking a break, you open within, and then you continue. You crack the PD value area low, which means who showed up at the PD value area low? You open inside, you're accepting the price. At this point, it's bearish, but then you crack the PD value area low, tells you who showed up.
No one.
Other time frame.
Initiative sellers.
Other time frame initiative sellers. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So if the initiative seller showed up, right, and this is just day-to-day profile, what are the odds the initiative sellers are going to show up on 2025 value area low?
I would think buyer.
Okay.
Much
So
higher.
our 2025 value area low is where?
Yeah. Nine.
Long ways down.
9.
Well, so now you put your, just rational hat. We know 2025, this is a congested area. We can certainly find buyers here, right? But very high chance we're going to find somebody. But me as a trader, I'm thinking more, well, if I really want a discount and I want other time frames to step in, maybe they want to go here. And that's the same thing I think about from yearly to weekly to daily. I think about this basically, it's in my head spinning nonstop. Where are we? Accepting, rejecting, are we trend down? Are we trend up? So right now on quarterly, we're shifting down. So quarterly, other time frame, quarterlies are shifting down. The next between quarterlies that I care for is yearlies. So now, in terms of Q4 value area high, what did we say is happening? I explained it, so I'm just making sure that you guys are.
Framing down.
So this is our Q4, but our value is where?
Oh, higher.
Value is still higher. So this could be what?
Could be the
Does this level become very important here? Let me make sure that you guys can see it. This level pretty important. Higher quarter low, which would be our 2024, 2025 Q4, right? If this is my 2025 Q4 and we slice through it, that means we're entering prior quarter. The odds are we're going to have a nice sell all the way, probably somewhere around here. That makes sense.
Yep.
yeah.
So now it just becomes a puzzle that I'm kind of. So let's put this right here. I pretty much have all the levels I need identified on the chart. Now it's just which one are you accepting and rejecting? So we said earlier, if they come to here, which they will be, when they clean this low off of this wick here, when they come here and they do this, what would you do here? If they hit this level and they get access, that's telling you they're not interested in trading here. They hit this high volume node, they got out, they want to go higher. And then we're back in the bracket, and then we got to reassess smaller time frames that lead to it and see. Okay. Same thing, guys. It happens on a daily and how you put your game plan on. So far, you guys, we're basically framing down, and depending on where we open, we're going to react to it. So if we open above it and you fall inside, it sets up a nice short. So let's see. You open above, you fall inside, that's a different setup. You open inside, could it be that we have a, two-way sided activity? What would that mean? Two-way sided activity when you open within value. Rejection can
No
go
other
both
time
ways.
frame.
Yeah, for right now, we're slowing down and just the short-term traders are taking control within this value. Until the long-term trader enters, we're not going to crack that value, right? They're the people that move it, not me and you. We don't have enough power to do that. So if we are opening within and accepting, it's going to look like this, and it's a two-sided activity. In our case, present case, that's bearish because we're accepting lower prices. If you're rejecting, let's say Monday comes in and they want to continue break of structure and continue break the value area low, it would be scenario A. If they rejected higher, that may be a short cover rally coming in. Does that make sense so far? This is open within the value. That means we are opening here within the value. We are opening between value area high and this low here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. There's different type of opening outside of VA, but within the range. This one is pretty good, right? So what would that mean? Opening outside of VA.
A peak above and fail or a peak below and fail.
What is range here? So range would be the prior day high and a prior day low, which would be right here, prior week value area low. So if we open outside here, correct, the whole day, if we open here, and then let's say that this is a value area low that's here. If we crack inside this value, what do you think happens immediately if we go above here?
It'll explore the other
POC?
end of the range.
What are the chances? I don't even worry about POC. What are the chances they're going to hit 17?
Pretty high since it's a small VA.
Small value area, very high chance you're just going to basically do an 80% and run. So that's at least the scenarios in my head. You crack above this, no, I don't want to short it. But you open here tomorrow, let's say you open here and you lose PD value area high. What would that tell you? So this is the two scenarios that you would have, right? Let me see if I can make this. So this would be that case, right? We open above, and then you lose the value area high. What would that tell you about what's setting up?
So as you minimize
Yeah,
your
we lost
application.
your screen. You gotta make the screen bigger again.
I see it now.
No.
Sure.
I think it's because you minimized, but I don't know.
Let me know if you guys see it now.
Yep, back.
Yeah, I don't see it.
So if we're opening above the value area high, which is possible maybe tomorrow, and then you crack inside the PD value area high, which should be, let's make this bigger here, right? If they crack inside here, the odds are that you're going to be most likely again back to the 80%. You're going to go PD value area low. The opposite is also doable tomorrow, right? Where we open below the PD value area low, right? And then maybe we reclaim the PD value area low, and you can expect a rally all the way to previous day value area high. And that's the trade that you would look for, right? You open below, you don't crack the PDL, you reclaim the PD value area low, you get inside, and you're driving all the way to the top. If the POC is somewhere in the middle, you trim some there, and basically keep a runner, see if we hit PD value area high. Similar trade I took on Friday, if you guys remember. I took a short once we cracked above PDH. We lost it. I went short. I had 8. I trimmed. I kept a runner. 80% closed it all. Same concept is here. And we have one of the two is going to happen tomorrow, either this one or potentially opening within the value, right? Is there any other scenarios we can have tomorrow?
Yeah, it could just keep going down. Great.
What about this one? What are the odds that we could open tomorrow here?
Yeah, probably pretty good.
Probably pretty good. So tomorrow, if we open below the range, right? I would say higher odds we open below the range than above the range. Anyone disagree? Odds. I'm not saying that it will or not, but that I would put 51% higher that we open here versus here.
That's pretty high.
I would say
Pretty
it's
good.
pretty high to open that we open here. But let's say we open here, and I give you a hypothetical scenario that we're opening here, and then within 30 minutes we're here. We're inside the value, and let's say 15 minutes, 30 minutes pass by, and we're still inside the prior day range. What happens?
Go along.
I'll potentially go long. You could play a short rally. You could play this level here, which would be PDPOC. This would be your mid target. If this happens right here, you would react and you would go for long. You wouldn't predict just because you bounce to go right. You would pay attention. But let's say you come here, and this is where a lot of people, I would say a lot of people fail here. Shorty, you told me if we open below and we reclaim it here and I go along, then I'm going to get POC. Well, if you're trading on 1 minute and a candle closes in here, and 1 minute candle is here closing inside, and you go long off of that, well, then you better have a stop loss of 1 point stop loss and 3 points reward because you're trading 1 minute candles. 1 minute candle on one full day, is that enough for price acceptance?
No.
No, just like most of you would not marry a woman just because you went on one date and she showed up great, would you? Hopefully the answer is no, right? That you guys want more common ground with your significant other and be like, yeah, man, she's lovely and she's great and all the other attributes you're looking in somebody you want to marry because it's going to be your future. Don't look at it on 1 minute and see if it comes in here and we open somewhere here, right, outside, and then we go inside, right? We go inside the value and shift here, at least give it 15 minutes before you say, okay, well, we are accepting value. Because typically when the price is rejected, it's going to be rejected quickly, right? When you come in and then it's going to be say, no, boom. You're going to find a rejection. But they can also, if you get accepted and you're just dancing in here inside of this, maybe even look at 5 minutes. Like, what would you want it to be if you're trading tomorrow? Like, Cap, tell me, what would you want to see if we get inside the value here? What's the level at least you want to clear? Let's go with what we talked about one of the classes the other night. This is higher high, lower low, lower high, consolidate, reload. We sold off. We went back to this POC again, where we sold off from, and then we put in what? A lower low.
Lower low.
Correct? So if you want to have a high probability trade, would you want to take that trade once you cross maybe like this zone here? Let's say we get inside and tomorrow they are accepting price here. Would you go long here? Or would you go long here when they're accepting the price here? Which one has a higher probability for you to go long? This here or this one here?
Good time. Break a stretch.
Yeah, the first one.
First one, because that would be the change of character, right? That means you're changing the character, let's say on 5 minutes. So if you can break this right here, this would be your change of character in the auction, right? We're reversing, and now you're maybe putting higher highs and you're above this low shelf that sits here. So if they do something like this and they're accepting here, yeah, go long, target this, target that. 1, 2, and you're done for the day. Does that make sense? So you look at this and then you say, where's my entry? How do I gain more confidence, higher probability that my trade would work out, right? And this will be the next level. I take it down. I have the day shifting, you opening here, you reclaim. At least give me this, and I'll deal with that. Could you take this long here when they go up? Yeah, but you can also get fucked by going too quickly and being too eager to trade. Let them find acceptance. Let them change the character for you and then go long. You might not catch the same points. You'll miss, 11 points. Is that 11? Yeah, 11 points here, but you can stay in the trade longer because you might not be shaken out. Once the trend is reversing, they don't immediately go back and make lower lows because that tells you a lot of weaknesses there in the market. Does that help, Cap?
Yeah.
I do have a question. Do you ever look further for this, like with the visual range
Well,
volume profile?
Of course, yeah. I mean, but look at my levels. I mean, would I, if this same scenario happened and we were opening below Q3 value area high, would that change my thinking here?
Probably not.
Probably yes, because I can expect other time frame players to come in. The reason why I mark these big levels is why. Because okay, well, maybe I didn't explain something here. Good. Let's focus on this sentence here. So if this is true, now the scenario is playing out where we are at the Q3 value area high. Who can show up here?
Buyers, long-term buyers.
Well, it would be, long-term people show up here. So if I have a short-term level and a major long-term level like Q3, it changes the picture a little bit. I don't want to short into this. It's much easier for me to short a retest here than maybe a retest here. I would need more time and more acceptance or rejection in that zone to confirm they're not interested, right? A 5-minute candle here might not be enough when you're playing with, a Q3, 3 months worth of data. Just in correlation ratio, 5 minutes on 3 months or 5 minutes on a day. Most likely you can use 5-minute candles on a day, but you can't use 5-minute candles on 3 months. You would have to probably use something like 3 days inside and see, do we accept it? Because in this level here, you're not playing for the day, you're playing for a longer time. Buying maybe calls or puts or swinging something, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So these points that I was trying to explain, opening outside PD value, but inside the range, right? Opening outside, but this is very important when you start your day and when you're watching the price. Are you rejecting or are you accepting? So we went opening within PD value area acceptance, opening within, this is an example, then you have the rejection, right? And rejection doesn't mean bullish or bearish. It just means that if you're trending down, it would be bearish. We're continuing. If you're trending down and then you reject this value higher, that would be bullish, right? That would be a reversal. Opening outside VA or value area, but within the range, these can be a little bit tricky for newer people when you're trading, but they give the best 80% rules. I would say if we bounce off a PD value area high, higher chance the PD range will be broken. The previous day range will be broken, if that makes sense. So if we bounce off a PD value area high, opening outside of EA, but within the range, so how would that look like tomorrow? Where would that look? Where's that level tomorrow? would that be you open here and then you come and you hold a PD value area high? What does it tell you? If we open here and we hold this level, what's the next?
Previous day high.
So this would be your target here. Very high chance you're going to have this here. And if you can put this in your head throughout the day, is the price accepting the value day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter over quarter, year over year, it becomes much easier to trade. And especially once you add like the day types, I think it will tremendously simplify for a lot of you. And then the PowerPoint, you guys have the models, right? And you will see these two, opening outside of VA, but within a range. I'm pretty sure you guys can find a bunch of them and see, just test it and see how it worked out in the scenarios that you would identify. Because typically what you're going to have is if you have this value here, and let's say this is the value, you can have so many scenarios. You open outside, and how do you trade it? Well, if you open outside and this is previous day value area high and this is the range high, let's say this is range low, and you're opening outside the value but within the range, well, is this the most confidence bullish open? What will be more confident bullish open than this one? If this is our previous day high, this is where I get to test, see if I taught you guys anything today. Yeah, this is my
Over the
previous day
PDH?
high, and this is my PDL, and this is my PD value area high, and this is my previous day value area low. All right. So if I open in the green thing here, and let's say we were trending down, giving you the same scenario, and we open above the value but within the range, is this the most bullish open?
No.
Where would the most bullish open happen?
Over the PDH?
Yeah, they clearly reject the whole range here. And then what's the setup that you play? If we open above the range, what can you play? We played it Friday. One scenario from Friday was played out.
Yeah, once you lose value area high, then you go down to value area low.
Well, Friday we lost previous day high and we entered short and we said, very high chance you're going to be going for this. Just the way the market's been structured. When you open outside, let's say above previous day high cannot be cracked. You cannot break previous day high. And I brought it up when we were trading. That was the point that we highlighted. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, not rejected a previous day high, and yeah.
That's correct. Then, so the setup is if you're rejecting this, and you see, let's say that you're getting some traction on previous day high, you can go long here if you see, that there are some buyers coming in and price goes in and dips inside and reclaims it. Maybe you can go long there, right? And you might be wrong, but not a bad spot to trade. But if we've been trending down all the way and this happens and you get inside like we did quickly, well, you opened above and now you're losing this. Well, that's a pretty good setup for a short. So let me go. But now if you open, we're trending down, right? Market's trending down and you're opening above POC. Let's say this is POC here. Above PDPOC, values are shifting. This is a prior value right here. And we open above PDPOC, but at, between value area high and PDPOC. What does that mean? Is this?
Slight bullish.
It's more bullish than opening where? Than opening here. Because this would be a bearish close, bearish extreme close, right? If they close the price, let's just add this guy. Is this a bearish extreme close or a bullish close?
Bear.
Not bearish. We closed very at the value area low, right? So the potential is that we're going to continue, right? And I'm not trying to go into market profile, right? But there's things here that you guys would pay attention to, right? Let's just shift this to 30 minutes. You can get a little bit more letters. Much more. Okay. So now when you look at this and we closed at the value area low, candles, is there anything that the market's clearly telling you here right now? If you reclaim this level, we're going to squeeze them. I just added one picture to you, and it should be clear as day now, Cap, of what market's telling you. Pay attention where the value area low is here. I'll just put it on a chart. Anything else you guys see here?
The single prints from Friday.
Single print from Friday.
Single prints.
So now we have almost like a double distribution because it has 3 TPOs wide, and we know now that this is being treated as a distribution. Bottom and top. Bottom one's heavy, and that's where our value area low is. So now if we crack inside this 90 here, I guarantee you're going to be able to catch these points here. Where would I take profits? Probably somewhere around here. I would start looking at profit taking at 27. Why is that here?
Because you got a selling tail up above.
We have the selling tail, which should be unfair high. So when we went above and cleaned up the what? This day we had what?
Unfair low.
This day here we had spike at the same level that you have single prints. Is that correct? Was this Thursday spike?
Yes.
And on Friday it became single prints. What is that telling you about aggressive sellers at this level?
They're winning.
Waiting there. So now if somehow what news will come out, if we are able to go above this level, I would not look for shorts for a moment. I would look for opportunities to go long here. And this green level here, I would kind of keep an eye on and see how do we react to it, right? Can we reclaim this or not? And that's just adding market profile. But we closed at the lows, you started at the highs within the value, and then you basically rejected this value. Now we're searching lower, and then I think we talked about this, right? If you guys remember that Monday IBH, remember this? Like this Monday IBH was here. Let me see. Yep. There's can't highlight it and show it at the same time. Let's see. It's let me see. Add it this way. Somewhere around here. If you guys remember this was the IBH. We said if you crack this, then most likely you're going to explore the bottom, and boom, that played out. It's similar concept in value and everything. When you combine these points, it really tells you the same story. You crack above this, you're going to go higher, and that's not what we want to trade. Did they have a clear trend day here? Yeah, more trend day than any other day. They went below the IBX, right? IB2X, and they're targeting potentially to be here. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
That opening is going to be very, very important. When I typically say, where are you opening? This is what I mean. Like, where are you opening? So now when you look at, where's my drawings? This becomes a game of probabilities, right? You're trending down, you're opening below, you reclaim it. That tells me you're not interested in lower prices. I better watch out for short cover rally. And then you can potentially squeeze them. You open above here and then you fail again. That means the seller is present. Most likely we're headed lower again. So the context that we're playing in becomes, I would say, immediately telling for you as a trader to station or give you preferences on bullish bearishness, right? You can use PDL, PDH as a start, then add previous day value, high and low. Now you have 4 points of data that should be telling you how you can proceed the day, right? Are you leaning bullish or bearish for the day? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's all I do when I'm trading with you guys. I'm just looking at the data that's being generated throughout the day, market profile, and I'm basically trading off of everything that they're telling me. I'm not any other secret sauce that tells me, oh yeah, this is massive sell. Order flow can be seen as a secret sauce, but that's just telling you, where are the orders coming, right? We talked about this 11 o'clock here. I mean, it was massive. Just, look at the candles. Anytime we came, remember that 666 level? I think it was like 667, but it was like this. You guys remember when I said that demon level is, they keep selling off of it, and then they kept setting the lows right here, and then ultimately they cracked. They came back inside again, and then they sold off, right? But not a big sell off, but a bearish close. So tomorrow becomes, where do you, how are you opening a relationship to PD value or low? And this, at the end of the day, closing at the bottom was bearish, right? This candle here at 3:30 showed some signs, right? And then they closed inside that candle. If they would have closed maybe outside of that candle, that would have been more bearish, but that's okay. So tomorrow, we just pay attention to where are you in relationship to this day? Are you above the value, above the range, below the range, inside the value, and how do you trade? If we see that you're going above PD and you lose it, oh, easy short. You open below, you reclaim, you can go long, target POC, you don't increase size, you keep size same, and then you target with the runners, PD value very high. And the same concept happens if you're going to swing on a weekly, on a monthly, quarterly, and so on. Okay. Go ahead.
Does looking at RTH versus ETH change your approach for these openings or even volume profile? Because I understand this is TPO, so it's going to be.
Yeah, this is TPO. So when you switch to SVP, right, do I look at this on ETH? Yeah, you can definitely shift, and you'll see here. I don't think it's going to change too much. Of here's your value area low did not change at all. PDPOC didn't change much, and I would say PD value area high, just because we were trading higher at one point, right, where they sold off right before. I would, in this case, I would still stick to RTH on this one.
I see, because it kind of overlaps the previous day value area low and previous day value area high a little.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it wouldn't really change much in this case. And then a lot of times you're not gonna, the volume after hours is not gonna be massive enough to change the picture of RTH. Can you use this and mark this? Certainly. I mean, this would be your previous day value area high here instead of here. But yeah, you could definitely use it. But RTH has been more, I would say, shitty to trade than ETH. So that tells me that they're just using ETH to accumulate the cells and then sell it to the people in RTH right now. Because it seems like every time in ETH we get a run up, and pay attention to like here, pay attention to here, and then they get higher prices. Overnight inventory becomes long and then they slice it. They've been doing that. Look at this. Inventory becomes, boom, sold it, ran it up, RTH, sell it.
Given that they're doing that in the overnight, should we look into starting adapting to that?
Well, I am. I'm looking tomorrow. If they open above PD value area H and they give me this, I will look to sell it. That's why the open becomes important, because the price doesn't open there for no reason. That means the ETH inventory was long or short. So if they're net long above PD value area H, PD value area high, and we crack inside, that's RTH selling again, and I will take that short.
I see. Thank you.
Yep. We'll stop here. The next piece that we're going to cover is the date types and relationship to prior day value and where we are kind of opening, right? Where it can be open and what type of days you can expect. So this will be almost like the final stage, and then we can kind of reconvene and look at the charts only and cover all three phases. Phase one, where we learn about profile. Phase two, the opening types, and then you add the date types, and then you combine it into one full picture, right? That becomes a full puzzle on how you can trade this. I would say read this picture, print it out, right, before you guys, next week's training on Sunday before we finish this off on volume. And then I think we do a market profile class because market profile gives you a lot more information too. That's not as easy to see on the volume profile, right? I think 2 days back to back now we had what? On Thursday we had it, and we also had it just on Friday. What did we have? Do you guys know?
Spike.
We had a spike. We'll cover the spikes, but here's Thursday spike, right? That's where it was spike base, and then you have a spike base where here. Where is the spike here?
Right below the eye.
Yeah, right there.
This will be our Friday spike base. And that tells us a lot, about opening tomorrow, right? We open above the spike, right? The odds are what? So we might be rejecting it. And now if you think about this, if this was our Thursday spike where we ran it off from, we opened, much like way above it. Once you lost this spike and the aggressive sellers came in here, did you have much to question? This was just a trap. It was a nice trap, and I would say we, for the most part, we had a blueprint. This was previous day high. They went below, and then did they ever start changing the framing here? Remember
No.
the C period when I said it's important? The C period, go with the C. Remember I was joking around. C's get degrees, and I said whatever C
Yeah.
does, you go with it. And C did what? He broke the IBH. It caused an extension, and we sold off, and then the value shifted. The value clearly shifted from dark blue here, and it shifted to here. So we're framing down on a daily and weekly and monthly.
Hey, Shorty. Is the spike base more important than the spike?
Well, spike base is what you base it off of everything, right? So this is your level to watch out for. Do we open above it or below it? Or will you open below it and quickly regain it, and you can have a run, kind of like what you had here, right? You open above it, and then they had a run, and then they got trapped, and then they lost it, and that's where emotional sellers showed up anyways. Spike base is what you base everything off. I made it easier for you guys because, let's say in this case, spike base is here, your spike end is here, like where the low of the M is. So this is your spike zone right here. As long as you're below the spike, you're leaning bearish, right? If you're open below previous day low, you're extremely and you're accepting that spike, bear spike. If you open above here or auction, let's say you open here and you auction above it, you're rejecting the late spike. And most likely you're going to go potentially probably all the way to the value area high here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the reason I ask is because usually what I've seen is sometimes when it opens below the spike, it kind of like just ignores that level, but then it rejects off of the spike base.
Yeah, spike base is the one you want.
Okay.
Spike base is the one that's do or die level. The bottom, I was just trying to teach you guys the zone where the spike is, because that happens to be probably PDL, right? In this case, or up top, it'll be PDH. This is the level you care for, spike base.
It's kind of like the last level, the last defense level.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is a good stopping point. My 4-year-old has his first soccer game today, so I can't miss it. We got to leave here in 10 minutes, but hopefully this helped. Let's meet at 9 o'clock today. Even though I gave you guys everything, we'll spend maybe just 15 minutes to put a plan together and see how ETH opens, and then see if we can connect the dots where maybe Cap, you'll lead the session, and I'll just hear what you say.
That sounds great. Shorty, real quick before you leave, your PDF for the volume profile has 151 pages, and the one in the Discord that I put up in May of 2025 has 139 pages. After the classes are finished, are you going to update a new one?
I will add this one here so you guys can kind of have it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll probably do it after my kid's soccer game just because I have to get ready on the road.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Hopefully it was a good session.
Yeah, it was great.
Put up.
Yeah, thank you.
Shorty. Picked up a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Shorty.
Bye.